RWP is brought to you by Porch Beer Entertainment.
What are you unwrapping?
Huh?
What are you unwrapping?
Nothing. I don't even have anything on my desk.
I hear crinkling. I'm not an idiot.
What
Are
do you
you?
mean you hear crinkling?
Do you have
Let's have a
candy?
look.
Are you gonna
Yeah.
pop in a? Oh, Starburst. You went with yellow. Yellow's the worst one.
I didn't. Came out of the Halloween candy. I had no idea what it was.
You still have Halloween candy? I
So
had
much,
to.
dude.
So,
So much. I
so
have a cavity now, like 100%.
let me tell you. So yesterday, Lucy was like, "I want chocolate," and I was like, "All right, I can get you a Chewy bar or whatever." She's like, "No, I want chocolate," and then she walked over to where the candy bowl is, and I lied. I was like, "Oh, there's no more candy left," and she said, "Show me," and I was lying because there's actually candy in there. So then I had to be like, "Go over there, and then I'll bring it over there to show you," and I quickly like dumped it out in the trash because like we've got
In the
Halloween
trash?
candy.
You just trashed a
I don't
bunch
mean
of candy?
not there's not that much left, but there are definitely still some left for sure. Did you get a tooth out there?
Oh, well, now it's like stuck in there.
Yeah.
So help me out with the dilemma here. I'm pretty much done for the day.
Right.
Do I grab a beer now?
Yes. Yeah, we're just doing a show. You got
Are
to.
you having a beer?
No, I can't. I'm responsible.
Okay, interesting.
Cool,
Why
because
not?
I'm not done for the day. After this, I'll probably need to finish up some work. I mean,
can have
wait,
one
we're
beer.
recording this at like 7 p.m. The workday's over, right?
Yeah, so grab a beer.
I've got my handy dandy big yellow cup of water. This is my.
What the fuck is that from?
That's
Mission
from
Barbecue?
Dickie's Barbecue.
Dickie's Barbecue.
Yeah, Dickie's Barbecue. Salty Dalton is walking over to get a brewski for this wonderful episode that I'm very excited for. I'm very excited to discuss this next set of chapters 4, 5, and 6 of the book that I will tell you again when Salty Dalton sits down. Yes, we are going to be covering 4, 5, and 6 on Tempting the Titan, a monster light spicy romance, Monster Between the Sheets, Season 2. Don't understand this description at all.
Monster Between the Sheets? Where'd you read that?
It's on the Amazon listing. It says Tempting the Titan, a monster light spicy romance. That's in parentheses or quotes, and then no parentheses, and then it says Monster Between the Sheets, Season 2. It's like what does any of that mean?
What was the first season?
I don't know, but I guess Fern Fraser. Oh, there you go. Fern Fraser must have some other. So I see another Monster Between the Sheets Season 2. So, dude, there's like a whole line of these Monster Between the Sheets. There's Demon's Own, Valkyrie's Choice, A Monster Worth Fighting For. And the best part of all of this is the cut. Whoa, okay. What are you doing? I don't need to stare at your crotch.
There's something behind the laptop. I had to close it to get my blue light glasses because taking care of your eyes is important, ladies and
This
gentlemen.
is just an
and children.
awful picture here. I'm going to share my screen for those watching on YouTube so you can kind of
You
see.
have the Kindle up on your screen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, like,
How? How'd you do that?
you could just go to, like, your Amazon account and, like, manage my books, and then you can click it and read it on your thing. So, like, look, this is Monster Worth Fighting For by Ava Ross. So honestly, this is a conspiracy theory of mine, is I think it's all the same person. Fern Fraser, Ava Ross, whoever wrote this one looks like Kylie Market. What the? Look at this one. It's called I Adored You. That is
I adored you.
That is unbelievable. Even the girl looks kind of weird, but look at that one. Wow.
That's actually insane.
And that's a Monster Between the Sheets Season 2 book as well. It says, he may only have one eye, but it adores her. He just doesn't know it yet. Man, a monster after a Halloween party got wrong. I wonder if this is all part of the same universe.
Oh, it might be. Because that's all we know
Screaming
about this
Woods.
universe.
It says Screaming Woods. Just outside the
No.
monstrous little town of Screaming Woods. So there's a whole... So that's what I'm saying. Like,
So were they just spending each book on one particular monster? Because, like I said, I read chapters 4 through 6.
Yep.
There's not a single mention of another monster.
There's 15 books in the Monster Between the Sheets season 2. Oh my God. Demon Zone, Turnabout is Fair Play. Looks like this one
Where do you go to find the books?
I just went on Amazon and
I'm on Amazon.
Searched the name of the one that we're reading is the this one, Tempting the Titan. Without a Stitch, Monster Between. This guy's like a Frankenstein looking thing.
You own this item. Read now. Oh, okay.
Look at this one. Well, this guy is hot as sin. That's the name of this one. L. Christensen. See, I'm telling you, like there's no way that it's multiple people. I think L. Christensen and Fern Fraser and Honey Phillips and Alana Khan, Violet Ray, I think it's all the same person.
You mean like
the
same?
I guess they just showed me biographies of all these various people, and they are different.
So the same. You mean different authors, same universe?
No. Same universe. I think it's the same author using pseudonyms, using different names. Now, granted, that theory could be tanked because they did just give me biographies for each individual author here.
But half of the biographies are
there's Kat Baxter,
or like Kat Baxter wrote one of these.
She wrote one of these.
Which one?
Because it says more about the author. So let's see: Honey Phillips, L. Christensen, Fern Fraser. Where's Kat? Come on, Kat. Kat Baxter. She wrote Harry's Beast, a monster/curvy girl romance.
Well, of course, it's curvy girl romance. Yeah,
it doesn't matter if it's. Look at this guy. This guy's like a centaur, and look, she's a little curvy. I'm not gonna lie. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
That's wild. That's actually wild.
Screaming Woods. Like many of the people in Screaming Woods, I'm cursed. Dude, I'm telling you, we stumbled upon a whole universe here.
It's a whole universe, but you know what kills me is that they don't reference that universe in the universe they're in.
Nope.
Like, it's just Atlas is like, there are so many monsters here, you have no idea.
I don't think we've run into a single other monster.
No, chapters 4 through 6, not a single outside monster is introduced.
Nope.
He's the only one.
Cool. This is cool.
Do we ever find out more about Doctor? I already forgot his name. Who fucked up everything, threw the whole town into chaos?
I think in one of these chapters, if I recall, we get some background, but we'll have to find out here as we do the episode. But yeah, it is apparently there's a whole universe, and I guess we got to read every single one of these books. Maybe not for the show, but in my daily life. So again, if you want to follow along at home, the book Tempting the Titan is a Monster Light spicy romance. It's either free or like or $3 or something if you don't have Kindle Unlimited or whatever. Yeah, so it's well worth the price to be able to follow along with us at home, and you can even get a paperback copy. Which I feel like after we read this, I feel like I need to commemorate the moment by buying a paperback copy. You know what's also funny is now that since we've been doing this show, because I do read on my Kindle a lot. Whenever I go to the recommendations, when it's like recommended books,
the algorithm it's gone.
It's horrible. It's all these types of books, and it's just I
have 3 audiobooks or stuff that I bought off Amazon,
right?
Which are like serious books. Like one is like the negotiation one, and then there's like one is like some random one by like David Goggins, but like then I have like an actual like history book, and then it's just like, oh, would you like more curvy girl romance? And it's just scrolling. And it's like the Mountain Man one, the one where my dad's best friend is my stalker.
Yeah.
Which I think we definitely
I think we have to do that one next. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think we'll jump in and out with the season 2 of whatever the hell this is with Screaming Woods. Well, it depends. It depends on, because I have not finished this book. I haven't read past the chapter 6. So like if it does live up to the hype and it's as stupid as we feel like it's been so far, then we may have to dive back into the series at some point. But I agree. We need to take a break from it after this one. Yeah. So we're starting with chapter 4. If you didn't...
I don't even remember how chapter 3 ended. I think she ended up working there.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
She's working there, and she was starting to like improve the office. She had like an organization where she was like, we're gonna put remember he's like, let's put the days of the week on the whiteboard or whatever it was, and it was like
she just wrote she drew out his schedule on the whiteboard, and he was like, this is insane, the efficiency, and the filing system.
Yes, that's the filing. And again, your main characters here so far are Celeste, who is new to town. She grew up in the
Brody,
circus.
her brother,
and yes, and she and her brother grew up in the
who just
circus.
decided to pursue a life in professional motocross. And used
Their parents
his
are
entire
dead.
inheritance. Yep.
She has a house, a townhouse, whatever.
But she's not house broke. No, she is.
She
needs a job to stay alive.
Zero money. But now she's working for Atlas here, who is a monster who's like jacked.
He's
and
a
like
titan.
he has
So
to
his
wear
type of
metal
monster
braces.
Is like, it's just what I assume happen. I think we find out what happens, but like he's
Yeah.
a monster who can like ultimately he's just real strong,
Yeah.
strong and tall and fast.
Right. And he's a PI. That's basically his job. So we start in chapter 4 from Atlas's perspective. He's eating a burger with Knox, who again, Knox is the FBI agent friend that Atlas has, where Knox was like sick the night of this Halloween party where people in the town drank punch and turned into monsters. Knox was at home, and so he became an FBI agent because he didn't turn into a monster.
And apparently in this universe, there are two ingredients. One makes people happy, and the other turns them into monsters.
Incredible.
And somehow it was a Powerpuff Girls episode where Chemical X accidentally got added, and it's just... And then everyone who would guess was at that giant party, if it was like most of the town, are monsters in some way, shape, or form. But
which apparently in all shapes and form, because we just saw all these covers.
But the only one we know of, and the only one they've mentioned in 6 chapters worth of talking, is Atlas, who's a Titan.
Right. So
he's sensitive about how large he is. He has to wear a giant exoskeleton brace to contain him from
his muscles. He's got to contain his muscles.
And he's triggered by sexual feelings, but he said also any other feeling ever.
So he has to be very...
And the brace doesn't actually stop it. It just contains it a little bit.
I don't know. But so he's eating a burger. He's with Knox, the FBI friend. They're apparently in the car.
Squish the burger between his fingers?
Yes, I slide the burger from its wrapper and squish it between my fingers.
What about
I guess because he's so big, I guess.
Is that a play on how like tiny the burger looks? Like, does it...
Like, those little gummy burgers that they make?
A burger? Yeah. It looks like a slider to him, maybe.
Yeah. So he turns to Knox. He's like, "Welcome back to the suburbs, my friend."
So I guess they're in the suburbs. I don't really know what Screaming Woods looks like.
I don't know either.
A quaint town. It can't be a big town if everyone who got sick was at the Halloween party for the entire town.
It can't be like a metropolitan city. Like, I don't know.
No, there's no way.
So Knox is also eating a burger. He laughs. He's like,
His eyes roll back in delight.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, oh, this burger is so good.
And it says...
Weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. He says, contrary to popular belief, not all monsters are ferocious, ravenous beasts.
I think that's because he like gently wiped the sauce on his chin.
Oh, wiping a trickle of sauce dripping down.
Like he was like very aware of that, I guess. We don't know anything about monsters or the preconceptions about monsters because the author hasn't explained any of it.
How we're working in this universe at all. He's like, yeah, can't resist the call of a good old fashioned burger from Fred's. Fred's Burgers. They're a juicy little slice of heaven between two perfect buns. And then
I have that highlighted, and it was. I bet you that he talks about Celeste's ass.
100%, and you would be correct because get the cowbell ready. He says, talking about perfect buns makes my mind drift to Celeste, and my thoughts head straight to the gutter. Because again, you just can't eat a burger without thinking about your secretary's big butt. That seems to be the case. He takes another bite of his burger, desperate to distract himself, because he's like, oh no, I can't get horny right now, otherwise I'll explode.
Pretty much.
And I guess Knox hasn't been back in a while. He talks about like, hey, I miss this place sometimes. So this is the guy
who, I mean, we'll just preface it. He mentioned it a long time ago in like 30 seconds. So remember back when the terrible exposition?
Yeah.
His buddy, he's got a contact at the FBI who he's been unofficially helping work FBI cases, which is illegal because he's a monster. and stuff. So his buddy is the FBI agent. That's Knox. That took me a
Yes.
minute to like put together.
Yeah, because they did a horrible job, explaining that.
Mhm.
And so yeah, he's talking about like,
They're
it's
just
good to
doing
be
this
back.
bullshit back and forth where
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, well, I bet you're glad you're in the city." And like because like apparently he can't leave the city. I guess all
Well,
monsters have to stay in the
I have
town.
that highlighted. It says it's a sensitive topic since I'm unable to leave town. So this has not been explained to us whatsoever as far as like
So
he
does it
can't
have to be
leave the
it's got to
town.
be a government mandated order then or something.
Right,
Like
right.
the government has to know and like all these people are allowed to be monsters and live in the town, I guess. But yeah, so he can't leave the town, but he somehow helps on FBI cases. Um but they just do this weird back and forth where he's like I can't leave the town, but I'm going to ask him how leaving the town is.
So
And
he
then his
can
buddy's just
only handle cases inside Screaming Woods.
Screaming Woods. So that's the FBI has to know about Screaming Woods then because
And
it's
like,
like
let's
'cause
be
you can't have
honest.
people not leave the city and have FBI that close by.
Right. There
Or
must be a
or
field
to join
office.
the to join the FBI, you go through the polygraph test. Anything weird about your hometown?
Right.
Uh, everyone is a monster.
Have you had any
Okay.
connections to, monsters or things like that? And the other
Yeah,
thing
it's insane.
is, so again, there must be a field office for the FBI somewhere near Screaming Woods in the city
He
part,
said
I
the
guess.
city, and we don't know where
We
this
don't know
goes.
where we
Screaming
are.
Woods.
But like, could there really be enough cases in a small Screaming Woods town to even sustain this guy's like business as a
Maybe if it's
financial
all
investigator? He's not even a private investigator. He's a financial investigator.
what was the Netflix show with Will Smith? It was
Oh,
like that monster.
Fly or Fire. There was some like,
They were both cops, and he got
yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
non-human cop.
Will Smith
Um,
Fire. Wasn't there Will Smith
Fire Step.
fires back at Jada? Nope, that's not what I'm looking at. Will Smith fantasy movie Bright. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like Bright, kind of, where it's like maybe the monster crime, like they have a different like, cause like you could stop a person for robbing a bank, but could you stop like a snake man who can turn
But
invisible?
also, is it like the Cyclops like isn't doing his taxes? Like I don't know what he's investigating. I don't.
Cyclops is doing tax fraud.
Yeah, I don't. I
Um,
don't get it.
that's why the FBI has to know. But
Right,
but either way, they're doing this bullshit back and forth where he's just
right.
like, oh well, the city ain't so bad, and I guess they're near a city.
Yeah, and he's
Um,
like, "There's something to be said for a place you can park on the side of the road, eat a greasy burger, and
you
not
mean
worry about
anywhere?
getting a
You can do
parking
that
ticket." It's
anywhere
like in
if
the
you
city,
want.
you can do that. You just park in like a parking lot. You don't park in the middle of the road. Yeah, sure, you'll get a ticket, but like I don't think
Yeah.
I don't get
Um,
that.
and so
Uh,
then he's just like, "Did you hire another investigator?" And he made a point to be like, "Just an assistant."
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, gets a phone call, and he just goes out of their way to be like, "He's an FBI agent who's always on call, even on his days off." And I was like, "Well,
I like how they say that.
okay,
And then the guy says on the phone, "I apologize for disturbing you on your day off." So here's the thing: it's like they could have just left in that piece of dialogue, and we would have understood, like, "Oh, I guess Knox works on his day off." Instead, they
yeah,
said Knox works on his day off, and then they had the person call and say, "Sorry for
yeah."
disturbing you on your day off." It's like you didn't need to have both details in there.
No, no, not at all. And then like, so he's basically like, and what the person says on the phone
Yeah,
is like the most generic,
right,
like
right.
bullshit answer. Like the local police received a report caused by that gang that you're pursuing. So I'm passing that along to you. They don't mention the gang, nothing. It's just more of like you don't even need that. He could have just hung up the phone and been like, the case I'm working, the gang, they're nearby. Um,
We also don't
and
know what
so
Knox's role is at the FBI. Like, is he a crime, like an
he's got to be
investigator?
like an
Like,
investigator, yeah,
is he?
agent
Does he
something.
focus on gang? I mean, like, when it comes to
It
like,
sounds like it's like gang violence or
yeah, like
something.
FBI
Um,
people like they have a specific designated like area of focus. It can't just be like they're not just another police force, basically. Like, I don't.
Yeah, he's not just like got the band radio up like 10:14 in progress. And but so they basically he's just like, okay, so he's like, wow, that's like right nearby where we're eating burgers. So he's like, let's go out there.
In the
So they
Windy
start
Peak housing estate is where a woman reported. Also, like I don't understand the chain of events here. It's like a woman reports to the police that she sees a gang at a housing estate. The police somehow are able to take that
Contact the
information,
FBI.
see a red flag in their system, like, oh, the FBI is investigating this particular gang, and this all happens in the span of an afternoon or whatever. It's like that's not how any of this works in real life. Like, there's just no way.
And yeah, exactly. And so basically, and we know that this new housing estate. Guess who
Yeah,
just bought a new
yeah. I
house?
guess who? Speaking
Celeste.
of
So
buns,
it's somewhere in her neighborhood. But
yeah,
basically, so he's just like Knox convinces Atlas to come along. He's like,
yeah.
"Oh, come on, apparently, you helped me with cases before, so I don't know if
Yeah, I
this
like
is
how he
like,
said, "You're on official business. Why don't you drop me somewhere on the way?" It's like, what do you mean? Like, you help him with official business all the time, apparently. So, like, why is this
yeah."
like, hey, buddy, like, I don't want to get in trouble here,
And then
helping
he
you
goes
out?
like, "What are you working on?" He's like, "The usual, chasing scum of the earth, that kind of thing." It's like, we have no, all we heard was they were just like, "Hey, you know that gang that you're interested in? They're around." And that's like the entire exposition you get. So he's like, "Oh, I wonder if it's near Celeste. I'll go
Well,
along."
so, and he also
Um,
says, lately I've heard reports about the gang causing problems for humans and monsters. So that whatever this gang is, they've gained enough notoriety that and they're apparently focused in on Screaming Woods, and they are messing with the monsters and
yeah,
the
I mean, it's just
humans.
there's just so many questions because you don't know who knows about the monsters because you got to think a gang that's being tracked by the FBI.
Right.
They have to know that they're monsters. Like they have to.
Yeah.
I would have no faith in our law enforcement system if they weren't able to snuss out that an entire town got turned into monsters by a crazy man who has a drug that turns people into
If I'm in a
monsters. You know
gang,
what I'm
maybe
saying?
that's the town I skip over. Maybe I go like, hey, you know what? Let's go to a different town instead of the town with like giant animals
But the
that
thing is,
living
you
in there.
can't say things like this drug turns people into monsters and this one makes them happy
Yeah.
without any type of FDA regulation on the fact that that's a thing.
Right. And
So
where's the FBI for that situation?
So I think
I don't know.
it's safe to assume that this town is mostly monsters. It has
Yeah.
some humans. It's
Sure.
under close government
I
regulation.
don't know if it's like
And
50-50 or if like one is more because
and
again,
this
it's
is
like
it.
how
Like
many
we don't know
people
how
were at
many
the
people missed
party?
the party, how many people
Uh,
were at the
I
party.
don't know. So he
Um,
says at first the group looks like a regular motorcycle gang, but they're affiliated with drug cartels pushing pharmaceuticals.
what does that even mean?
I don't
Pushing drugs?
I don't
If they're
know.
pushing pharmaceuticals, what I'm imagining is a motorcycle gang that's running a CVS
Yeah.
and is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, that particular one is not in your coverage. We do have a generic if you would like."
Also, are the monsters doing drugs? Like I don't know. Like if you're a monster, are you also like is like a werewolf like
A heroin
smoking
addict?
crack? Like I don't
Yeah,
I don't.
probably,
And
but,
again,
like, it's
like
just it's just a weird way to say that. They look like a regular motorcycle gang,
yeah, yeah.
but
But they
they're
actually yeah.
actually affiliated with a drug
Drug
cartel. Okay, so
cartels?
hard drugs, pushing pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals, I've never heard because you talk about, like, pills and stuff, like
Yeah, that's like what
ecstasy,
they're talking
Molly,
about here is
but
like
no one
pills,
calls
I
it
guess. But yeah,
pharmaceuticals.
yeah, I don't know.
You
Pushing
just call it
pharmaceuticals is
the
so
drug
weird.
name or you just say drugs.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it was, and then of course,
Pharmaceuticals is like what a pharmaceutical company does. That's like
right,
pushing
right.
vaccines,
That's like
like
getting
things.
your
Yeah.
Tylenol dose, and
Yeah, this
then
group is actually trying to come up with a vaccine for COVID-19, and the FBI is trying to stop them.
Atlas goes, gangs. Ah, shoot, we
Shoot!
don't need that in our
Oh,
quiet
shucks!
town. It's like you just said you'd heard about this. Why are you acting surprised about this,
Yeah, you know
Atlas?
that they're messing with monsters, which is most of your business. Because I think he just does monster investigations
Like, did the
specifically.
gangs just show up yesterday? Like, I don't understand.
Also, like even the way it's written,
Yeah, it
there's
literally
no
has
way to
four
read.
H's.
Try
Yeah,
to read that as serious as you possibly can.
gangs.
If you were in a Netflix drama,
Ah, shoot. It's like I don't. But it's not even a
because if you
question
just be
mark.
like
I don't know.
gangs,
Gangs. Yeah.
oh shoot.
And he said, "Did you just say shoot?" And he said, "Yeah, the new office manager isn't a fan of my curse words. She's gone as far as setting up a jar for me to drop some cash every time I slip up. So she's got a swear jar. She now has a swear jar in the office. Celeste does for Atlas because apparently he swears a lot, which is funny because we haven't heard him swear once at this point. So
Not once, not a single time.
I've never
And I
seen
gotta
him
think
swear.
in a book where they will probably use the same adjectives to
Oh yeah.
describe
Hmm.
sex scenes. that you would imagine that why would they shy away from using curse words?
No idea, but they haven't to this point, but apparently he swears enough that the Celeste has got a jar for him to put money in at this point.
I can't understand the tone of this chapter because like this is in the next couple pages, it's like this. Like they're talking, they're like trying to do this weird catch-up thing. All of a sudden he gets a call. There's a gang 5 blocks away.
Right.
They're going to go investigate. And then it just switches between like, so how's the office work?
Yeah, well, she's like, so how is she doing?
Fine. And it's just like so passive. And then
they give us some more info here. Did you see like what Knox says about criminal groups operating along the coast. So
it doesn't tell us anything.
Guess we're along the coast.
Read all of that.
have been focusing on smaller towns to establish their operations.
What operations doesn't say.
Also, I don't think that's how that works. Our investigation is looking into a possible connection between the developer and these gangs. So are we talking about the developer of the town? Are we talking about
software? It could be anything. It's like 4 paragraphs saying like, it's like I get it. It's the most generic. It's just like, yeah, they're bad guys who do bad stuff, and we've been looking into the bad stuff, and we believe there's a connection between these 2 groups. What 2 groups? No one knows.
The developer and these gangs, like, there's no other information
about the housing developments, but like, I guess they go to small towns and open up pharmaceutical sales inside of
these housing developments. But like, if the FBI knows this at this point, like, you'd think they would be able to stop it.
You think they would stop it? They would have absolutely stopped it. You think? Yeah. And so then it switches back, and he's just like, "Oh man, Knox and I were childhood friends." And then this is the most bullshit. I have this entire like 6 things highlighted.
Sure.
They're going back and forth where they're talking about something super serious but doesn't give any context for the gang stuff. Then it's like, how's your office life? And then he just, first of all, this is my biggest issue with this. Atlas goes, how are your parents?
Yeah.
It gets so awkward. To which he's like, I don't talk to them. How are yours? I don't talk to my parents either. Not after they locked me in a basement.
Yeah,
I
highlighted that.
And then it's just like, the air feels thick with tension due to our complicated history. There are too many unspoken emotions to unpack, and now isn't the time.
What a cop-out.
You brought it up.
What a cop-out. That is so ridiculous.
That as a subject, the author went, let's talk about this. Oh, it's too painful to talk about.
Yeah, what a cop-out.
And it also says, I'm not fond of either of our dads after they locked me in a basement for my own good. Yeah. So either both dads from
or he's got 2 gay dads.
Atlas teamed up and locked him in a basement when he turned into a monster, or was it pre-monster? We don't know.
I don't know.
Or a crazier situation is both dads individually have each locked Atlas in a basement.
In a basement, yeah.
Which is weird.
Why are we not? Yeah, why do we not have more details about the fact that Atlas, after this again, very complicated incident.
It says he couldn't play sports, so it had to have happened in like a high school time frame. He's been that way since he was a kid.
Right. And at some point,
what party is he going to?
They were locked in a basement. Like, does that mean like on a nightly basis?
Not Knox too. This is
Atlas. Just Atlas. Yeah.
Locked in a basement.
What does it mean though?
I don't know.
Is it a nightly thing? Was it like this guy's becoming too much of a monster? Like, we're gonna lock him down here and hopefully he just dies?
The brace was invented. Yeah. Because he said anything could trigger him, stubbing a toe or getting horny, and he turned into a type.
And he will get horny. So they arrive to the housing estate, and they see several motorcycles parked in front of the house. Not much of a gang, if we're talking about. It's not even a gang. It's just 7
like some
motorcycles.
Blacked out motorcycles at a house.
Yeah, and that's and somebody called that in, and it went all the way up the chain to the FBI.
To the FBI. And they said that these bikes aren't designed for pretty pictures on Instagram. These men are out to hurt people.
That is a leap in.
Why are the saddlebags full of weapons?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or are the bikes designed to kill people? Like, are there just machine guns on the bikes or spikes sticking out?
The disturbance was at number 4 Evergreen Way, Knox says, and Knox pulls out his gun right away.
Bikers could have come from. Oh, he does pull out his gun.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Yeah.
It also says the bikers could have come from any of the houses on the street, aren't they all parked next to each other in front of one house?
Yeah, that's what they said to us.
So are they just looking at all the bikes in front of one house, being like, these bikers could be in
They could
any of
be
these
anywhere.
houses?
Like they might be in the house that they're all parked in front of, but they could also be in a different house. Also, grabbing the gun is one thing.
Isn't
Also,
that
if
like
the local police are
Rule
already aware,
101, I
yeah,
feel like in any police, it's just,
call for backup.
yeah, call for backup. But also, if you think it's a dangerous situation where you need to be armed, you probably shouldn't be going in there alone.
And you aren't bringing a civilian into the mix here.
Also,
as like
this is like a family development community.
Celeste
He's
lives
just
here
going to
or
be
whatever.
wandering the street with
Yeah.
a gun, looking for bikers who he doesn't know what they look like or where they are.
So Atlas says, "I don't have a weapon on me," and Knox is like, "You don't need one. Just look at yourself." And he laughs.
You're a monster. Yeah.
It's like,
you're
well,
free.
no, monsters can still die, like from bullets, I would assume. Like,
we actually have not. In the crappy exposition we got, we do know he gets super strong, I guess, but he is not mentioned to be bulletproof. So that is
Also,
obviously a real concern.
what's the plan here? Because
To
they
shoot all the
heard,
bikers.
but here's the thing. So they got a call about a disturbance, right? They didn't get a call about like
It's from a neighbor.
a
A
violent
neighbor
act,
called.
or
Yeah.
like like there was no gunplay. That's not about any part of the call. The call was like a noise complaint, basically. And so Knox shows
The
up.
call was just, there's a bunch of bikes in my neighborhood,
yeah,
and the
right,
FBI was like, it's that gang that we haven't mentioned the name of.
And like in theory, he's conducting an investigation about this group, correct? So in theory, shouldn't the showing up to the facility make sense to kind of do in more of a stakeout capacity, right? You park down the street,
No, 100%.
you observe what the comings and goings
Or-
of the house. It adds to
you
your
interview the
investigation.
neighbors.
You talk
interview
to
the neighbors.
Yeah.
You canvass the streets, right?
Right.
But the actual let's investigate the facility, that's actually done by a group of armed
because
police
you're
officers.
grabbing a gun and you're telling Atlas, I'm going to go around the back, or no, I'm going to go left and circle the edge of the neighborhood leading towards the freeway. So it's like, I'm going to go completely far away from the house. You go.
Not even going anywhere near the house. So it turns out Knox, this is why Knox probably passes off all his cases on the Atlas.
Right.
Knox doesn't like confrontation and has gotten so high up in the FBI, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So Knox is like, Knox turns off the car. He goes, I got a feeling that they might try to escape to the freeway a mile away. I'm gonna go walk over there. You handle this house.
I guess it's like I don't get it. So he's like, you go around the back, and so and Atlas rolls his eyes. He's like, oh God, I guess I gotta do everything around here. And then he's almost at Evergreen Way when he picks up a familiar scent in the breeze. Frangipani.
Is he super smelling? Is that part of his monster thing?
I have no idea. Frangipani, roses, and something else. What is frangipani? Is that like a type of perfume?
Is it frangipani?
It's a type of plant.
Frangipani. Frangipani?
What is the smell of Yeah, it's like a flower. So he smells a flower
and
other flowers, and then he says, and something else.
And then he
what
smells
is
something
else?
familiar.
Yeah.
He doesn't say what it is, but then he just actually sees Celeste standing in a window. Right?
Yep.
And he says, I feel like an intruder from my hiding place in the shadows as I watch her brush her hair.
Yeah.
Hey, bud,
You
it's
are.
because you are.
You are, 100%.
You just described exactly why you feel that way.
Mm-hmm. You're walking around the back of a building.
Also, and what is the Disney princess shit
Yeah.
that Celeste is doing right now?
But you know how you naturally brush your hair in front of your open window?
Brushing her hair, staring at the moon.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that part. Yeah.
Just staring at the moon. He goes on and on how he's like, she's everything I want, but I couldn't wish for. Like, she's out of my league.
And then he pulls a Beauty and the Beast thing. He's like, why would a beauty like her look twice at a man like me?
She's perfection and I'm just a monster. And now I'm a voyeur.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Because he's staring at her the whole time. And then,
this next sentence is definitely a cringe cowbell here.
This sultry siren removes her top and walks to the window wearing only her bra. And so, first of all, let me paint the picture in your mind, Palace. Of what's going on here.
This is great.
You have a 7.5-foot man standing in the bushes, looking at a normal, this is 21st century townhouse.
Yep.
At a woman who is combing her hair, I guess, with the window straight open.
Yeah, like sitting on the sill
Staring
or
at the
something.
moon
Yeah.
longingly
Probably
before
singing
she
to it.
before she walks to the window in a bra and then scans the pitch black surroundings intently. So it's maybe like she's like, "Am I being watched?" And she goes to look to see.
Also, if you
Um,
think you may be watched, you probably leave the shirt on, right? I would think.
you probably would. And
Um,
then she does another like weird thing where it's like after she really intently looks to see if anyone's there, she stares away into the darkness with a faraway like expression.
yeah.
And he's like, "I don't want to be perceived as a peeping Tom, so I
You
look
are
away."
literally doing the
But you are a
exact
peeping Tom. And then he
peeping Tom.
says, "I give back into the temptation and look at her again." So he's like, "I don't want to be a peeping
Yeah, he's like, I don't
Tom,
want to look, but I'm going to look, and then he
but
feels bad
hello."
again. He says, I immediately
Yeah.
feel remorse. He's like, ah, damn it, I looked again. While I could linger and admire her all night, even though I said I don't want to be a peeping Tom, I'm satisfied with my decision to turn away. But then he grabs his phone and he's like, "Hey Celeste, there's a dangerous
Gangsters
gang."
nearby.
Like,
Don't worry how I know this, but you need to lock all of your doors.
do you live on
right
number
now.
4, like Crescent Way or whatever? It's like, and there's this beautiful full moon out. I don't know if you've seen it.
Hey, hey, by the way, there's gangs in the area. Just make sure you wear a shirt.
Yeah.
If you're looking out
Yeah.
windows,
Close the window if you don't.
your front steps need to be painted. And then there's like a motorcycle gang nearby, and there's also a police officer who's walking around with a gun. Anyway, I'll see you at work.
Also, she's too exposed where she lives and needs to be careful.
No, she's not. He's just looking into her windows. There's a
She's
difference
just living her
being
life.
Also, he doesn't. It's not like the doors are wide open. Like maybe if she was living with her door open, not
Also,
locked, just
I don't understand this part. Knox
I can't.
Knox pulls up behind me and honks the horn. What is going on? He was
Okay,
told
so
to go
this is
around
what happened.
back by
This
the
is what happened.
woods.
He either got out of the car and went on foot with his gun drawn, or he drew his gun, told Atlas to get out of the car, and
Drove
then
away.
continued driving.
But just did a loop because
Yeah,
Atlas was supposed to.
Atlas took 6 steps, smelled flowers,
Yeah.
and then stared at
Saw-
her undressing.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow Kevin is.
The logistics of it don't make any sense.
Where's the road? I don't understand. Because
Yeah.
Knox pulls up behind him and then
and then first of
honks
all,
the horn.
wild because there's a gang nearby doing pharmaceuticals, and you're supposed to be stealthy. So he goes on foot, but gets back in his car, lays on the horn to be like, "Don't worry, it's all clear." Or oh my god.
And then Celeste obviously gets shocked by the car that's right outside her window, and apparently shuts her window. And then he Alice walks back towards the car, and he says, "That didn't take long. Did you find them?" Is what Alice, I guess, says to Knox. I asked, feeling guilty for not doing more to help.
And he said, "Don't worry, it was just a false alarm." I don't believe that at all. There were 6 bikes intended for human harm parked in front of a single house.
And keep in mind, they were also like blacked out bikes too. They had saddlebags and like all this stuff.
Yeah,
like the exact description that was flagged.
Yeah, it all together in front of a house.
It's like, no, they're just another gang.
He's like, I did a loop around on the block. There was nothing there. Nothing there. You know, he's either involved in the gang or he just doesn't. He's bad at his job. He's a bad man.
And so the chapter finishes with Atlas. He's like, I love, I want to just Celeste, but this is starting to get a little too problematic. He's like, this is going to become an issue. I've been meaning to ask her to wear less revealing clothes to the office, but after seeing her half naked tonight, the issue became urgent. Which again, it's like,
well, she's not wearing that to the office.
Yeah, she's usually wearing a shirt to the office.
You did that.
Also, like, can you control yourself a little bit, guy? Like, you don't have to be like, like after seeing her tonight, it's like, it's urgent. I'm gonna explode. It's like, well, what does that mean?
He does is he pulls up the employee contract.
that he made.
And then basically sends an email out to the office, which is one other person
at 9 p.m. or whatever,
about dress code requirements. How insane is that?
I don't get it.
It's insane. Yeah, and he's like, adhering to the rules is good, but this is really just she needs to be wearing an Amish
Yeah.
dress because
Because I can't control myself. She needs to,
and
stop
it's her
dressing the way
fault
she's
for
dressed.
for
It is.
dressing that
It's her
way.
fault that she was, in her own home, getting ready
Naked,
for the
yeah.
night, and you happen to be right there. That's how chapter 4 ends. So, I again, it's
The
something I've asked a
logistics
lot here.
that whole episode I
I
said that
don't
that whole
understand the point of this chapter, um, because like I guess the only way it can make sense is the gang has to be involved at some. So here's one of my
if the
predictions.
gang is not involved
Yeah,
again,
that would be insane. My
I will
prediction,
lose my mind.
and again, I Scout's honor, I have not looked ahead besides chapter 6.
I haven't either.
My
I actually
prediction
haven't even read
is
chapter 6, to be
the
quite honest.
gang kidnaps Celeste in some capacity, and Atlas has to like save her, and so that is one of my predictions. And
Okay.
he becomes like a beast to save her, like he becomes his true self and all that stuff.
Okay, and like I said, I haven't even actually read chapter 6. We're gonna do that live, at
That's
least for
fine.
me.
Oh, I don't care. Yeah. Wait,
Um,
but yeah, because otherwise it's
so
like,
my prediction is that Celeste has ties to the gang from her circus life,
now that is
and in
intriguing.
some
And
way,
she's
and
like, I'm trying to get out, and you could
and
be
yeah,
the guy
and maybe
to get me
Atlas is
out.
gonna be put
Yeah.
in a position where he's like, I
Oh,
either have to lie
yeah, to
and
protect
forfeit my
her or
PI
whatever.
license
Yeah,
to protect her, or like he has to
got to
like
bring her in. Yeah,
yeah bring her in, like arrest the love of
yeah.
his life.
Which
Yeah.
clearly they're going to, they're going to bang each other at some point. Chapter 5 is now from Celeste's point of view, and she starts us off immediately with,
I think someone was
I think
looking
somebody
at
was
you.
looking through my window. Like I did see the 7'2" shadow, a 3-piece suit out there, and I'm pretty sure it might have been somebody. And then, but then she knows who it was because she says, "While I was startled to see Atlas hiding in the trees outside my home, I didn't feel scared or threatened." So what do you mean? I sensed someone had their eyes on me last night. You saw somebody had eyes on you last night, and also you didn't feel scared or threatened at all about seeing your boss outside of your house as you were changing your clothes
And
at
then
9 p.m.
and then she walks to the window
Yeah,
and exposes
yeah,
her underwear to him.
hmm yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool. That's okay.
And
That's so
I like
weird.
how she says the surprised look on his face made me think he was there by coincidence, not because he was stalking me. I don't know.
I don't understand this woman.
Although I don't have much experience with men, our connection is as real as it gets. He's
Has it
single
been
and doesn't have any
3 days?
children. What is it? What does this whole sentence mean? I don't even
What does that
understand.
have
What does
to
that have
do
to do
with
with
anything?
anything? I don't get
Our
either.
connection is so real. Also, he has no family, and he's single, so we're a perfect match. We're
Well,
built for each other.
is she telling us this to like be like, no, he's cool, he's normal, like he's single. Like, it's
He
like,
doesn't have
are
kids.
we her
Like
friend? She's trying to
nothing tying
justify
him
with,
down.
and then she even
It's just
further justifies. She's like, hey, there's nothing wrong with two adults finding each other attractive, and if he feels the
this is
same, I'm willing to explore our attraction. It's like,
I don't know why, but this is
okay,
giving me such weird vibes of like somebody trying to defend like not pedophilia, but something weird, like a
right.
weird fetish.
Yeah,
Like there's nothing wrong with me being attracted to
yeah,
blow up dolls.
yeah.
Like
Two consenting blow up dolls, it's fine.
it's
Um,
totally fine. Like why you guys ask? You guys are the real weird ones with your
I wasn't
yeah.
embarrassed when he saw me in my underwear, and I would have put on a show to tease him if
What is
he'd
that?
stay
Why would
put.
you do that?
Yeah,
Why would you do that?
that seems like a bad idea.
That's your
Um,
boss.
he sent me a message about personal security and a long-winded email regarding appropriate business dress, which I laughed off, even though I
I
was
was offended.
offended.
Ha ha ha
Oof.
ha. Why would you laugh it off if you're offended? Just be
If she
like,
read
it
it in
offended me.
private, like why would she laugh about? I don't understand. um,
She's just like, oh, whatever. It doesn't bother me. It bothered me.
and
That's what that conversation was.
he shut down his feelings. Although I learned something new about him daily, something keeps him from getting too close. Maybe because he is trying to maintain, as she says, like maintain professionalism in the workplace. That's probably in theory what he's trying to do. But she has a theory. She's like, I think it's more than that. She's like, I think
Mhm.
whatever's bugging
Maybe,
him is
maybe he's
more
a
than just that.
monster.
Yeah, maybe, I would guess he is. I mean, have you looked at him? He's humongous.
Wait, yeah,
Um,
wait. Has she found out if he is?
I don't know. I don't think she has at this point.
I thought she did. Maybe not. Okay, but either way, like First of all,
I don't think.
the
Yeah, I
whole
don't think
like
officially nothing has been
workforce or workplace relationship, sexual harassment stuff, like he's being pretty sketchy. Showing upside the house would have been a really big flag to be like, I should probably quit.
Yeah.
But then she's just like, I would have given it a show. Like
Yeah,
these,
it's like
these are both
what,
just
what type of
sexual
show?
deviants.
And I like this sentence.
It's like an actual puppet show or something.
Yeah, I like this sentence. So it's almost time for Atlas to come in for work again. He lives upstairs, and I guess he just like comes downstairs to work. And while I wait, I tidy the mess of documents, pencils, and food wrappers on my desk. Now look, you and I both worked plenty of jobs, having cubicles or desks or things like that, and I've ate plenty of meals at my desk, but food wrap. I've never had this food wrappers laying on my desk. Like, what are
Not
you
for an
ordering?
extended period of time. If I finish eating
You throw it
my
away
sweet,
immediately after you
my
finish
sweet
the
green
meal.
salad, most offices have trash cans.
Yeah, I don't understand this. She has like old food wrappers on her desk, and then she heads to the kitchenette to make coffee. My mind is buzzing with mischievous ideas on how to push the boundaries further and break through the invisible barrier between us.
Now she's playing the game
She's
of
looking for trouble.
How can I sexually harass my boss
Yeah,
today?
that's basically it.
How can I lead him on? Yeah, into having him show upside my house again.
He comes in. He's wearing his three-piece suit, his hat. I like how she asked the question: Why
His
doesn't he
fedora.
remove? Why doesn't he
It's his
remove his
fedora.
fedora when he's indoors? She asked that, and then it never gets brought up again. It's like, yeah, that's a good question.
That's so weird.
I
It's
don't.
so weird.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, we've wondered that too. I don't know why he doesn't remove his. Like, does he have a bald spot? I
I
don't know.
guarantee you, this author, if they are currently in a relationship or husband at the time of this,
He's a
wears
fedora guy.
fedoras.
Yeah, has to
Mhm.
be. She's like, here's my little homage to you, husband. He
Good
wears a fedora
morning.
everywhere.
Good morning, boss. I purr.
I don't love that.
Who the? If anyone said that to me the second I walked in the office, I would immediately turn around and walk out.
And then
I'd be
how do
like, I
you
can't deal with
lean?
this today.
She leans provocatively against the counter, holding the coffee pot. Like, I don't know what that means.
Oh, like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, show me. Yeah. But she's not drinking the coffee. She's holding the pot. It's a full pot of coffee. It's hot.
she's just leaning with a hot pot of coffee.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. She's like pushing the chest area out.
I guess she's got a tight black wiggle skirt. I don't know. I've never heard of a wiggle skirt.
With the ruffle hem and sheer black blouse.
Blouse. Yeah, black skirt, black blouse.
Tight black wiggle skirt. What
yeah.
is it? I'm gonna Google what a wiggle skirt
Yeah,
is.
please do. Atlas. So yeah, she says, "Good morning, boss." He clears his throat and grunts a response, quickly diverting his gaze as he races to his desk. So he's like,
Okay, so it's just a. It's
just a skirt that with some room to move, I guess, or something.
no, the complete opposite.
Oh,
it's
so
like
it's very tight. So the idea is to
it's just
accentuate.
it's like a pencil, whatever, like the pencil dresses. It's just
Yeah.
like a very tight skirt.
Okay. So
I guess
yeah.
maybe because you have to wiggle into it. I don't know how
that's
to.
true. See, we're idiots. If you're a female and you're
Yeah.
listening to the show, you're like, these guys are so dumb.
I've never worn a wiggle skirt.
Yeah, neither
but,
have I actually. I may wear one though.
yeah, one day.
So he grunts a response. She says, "Good morning, boss," and he's just like, ugh, and then like
Whatever.
races over to his desk, and then she says, "Atlas is as attracted to me as I am to him, and the outfit has the effect I intend." It's like that's a leap to a conclusion right away.
If someone grunted
She's like,
and,
"He's into
like-
me. He is
and like
into me."
looked away, I wouldn't know how to interpret that. I'd be like, I guess it depends on how they looked at me before they looked away. But if I just was like, hey, I didn't know, maybe you want to hang out later.
This
Look
whole
away.
scene is
maybe not.
fantastic. This whole scene is fantastic because like she's like moving around provocatively. She's like, shaking her butt when she walks and like, and all this stuff. And he tugs the brim of his hat lower to cover his eyes. So he's literally like, I can't even look at her. I can't even look at her. Like, I'll explode. It's like, dude, like just
His
be an adult. I
reactions
don't
are
understand.
Very visceral.
It's like he's a 13-year-old boy. Like, I don't understand.
It's like,
yeah.
oh god, it's so.
She leans in. She does the cleavage bit. She's got the cleavage. She leans over. And
coffee with cream and 2 sugars, the way you like it.
Yep.
Like, okay, and then she leans in, giving him an ample view of her cleavage, or sorry, a view of her ample
cleavage. Yes.
So she has large
Correct. Chest.
Yeah, I was thinking of like a funnier way to say it. Huevos or
Yeah, huevos. Yeah, sure. We'll go with. Aren't those? Isn't that like eggs
it's
or
eggs and
something? I don't.
spinach. Yeah, that's actually kind of weird.
That's kind of the weirdest one you could possibly say.
She's working with quite a bit of casseroles, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
Or just use different words like no.
Yeah. She's got two monsters attached to her chest.
There you go. See, yeah. See, that's just the give and take.
I would screaming would her. I don't know.
Oh, we ventured in too far.
We'll skip over that.
Yeah, and so he just like gulps audibly. He's acting like a cartoon character. You know, like when an attractive person walks in and they do the eyes shoot out of their head.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Hello, nurse.
Yeah. And their tongue like rolls out. Like that's what he's doing. And he going,
yeah.
Oh my God,
so he's like,
so
did you get the email I sent? And she's like, I got 43 emails this morning. First of all, it's like 43 emails for this small company.
Are they all from Atlas? Because there's only 2 people that work in that office.
I don't understand. And then
what does that mean? No, I want to know who she's emailing. Because she can't email the FBI directly because they don't know they work the cases.
Nope.
Are they like Netflix subscriptions? Like,
yeah, I don't know. So he smirks. He's like, no, it's the one about the dress code. And she's like, yeah, I got that email. Is there a reason for bringing it up? And he's like, I'm only making sure you're aware of the dress code guidelines. Following the rules is important. And she's like, I'm aware. She gets a tape measure. She like smoothly rolls up the hem of her skirt and then checks that the length so it's like what they used to do in schools where it's like
check the length of the skirt.
It has to be like the length of your fingertips or whatever. Like it can't be shorter than your fingertips. So she's like, but also it's like this is I guess one of my questions would be, and I again I'm not a woman, so I don't know if these types of regulations exist in the real world. Are there literal regulations built into work dress codes that say the length of your skirt has to be a certain length? I feel like it's just like, hey, dress appropriately for work. Like I feel like that's usually what
they actually have is. Like a little bit more like detailed policy guidance on like specific clothing.
Sure,
because,
but it also depends on the company. This is one person.
On the company, but it's also like it gets into the whole like you can't wear like political messages or
right.
You know, whatever. But a lot of it is it's the common sense game. It goes. Yeah. Would most people wear that to a business? No. Then you probably shouldn't wear it.
Yeah, there's no like.
I could see maybe someone like him. I mean, the fact that they have like skirt lengths detailed in and out of the document, despite him never having an employee ever.
Yeah, especially one wearing a skirt. This is
like the first person he's ever hired.
And he just arbitrarily
for months.
Yeah, he just arbitrarily decided a skirt length, and then he's like,
yeah. And she adhered to it, but it's just like I don't understand what's happening here. It's just it's weird that they have such a tight dress code for a 2-person office financial investigation.
Also,
firm.
Random note, I don't typically have a tape measure like in my office desk, like immediately accessible. I will say so, especially if he's now look like. But you're in your basement where you have other tools and things like that. This isn't your work office, and like
you're not often measuring things at work. In fact,
especially if you're doing financial investigations.
I bet you if you gave me on our entire floor, the 3rd floor of where I sit, I'm good at scrounging up things, but I bet if you gave me an hour to look around and try to find a tape measure, I would not be able to find one.
No.
It just doesn't. It's just not unless your job specifically requires it, or someone accidentally brought in a tape measure.
Yeah,
you're not just running into those.
So it's very strange that he'd just have it in his desk, and he's like, so she measures it. It's part of the regulations or whatever.
And
so she like
smirks at him. Yeah, she's like,
see. He's like, fine, you got the memo, and snatches the tape measure away from. It's like, isn't this what you wanted? Isn't this what you said? Like, why are you getting so angry about this? She's like, I have followed instructions right down to my shoes. What did you call these heels again? I forgot. And then he's like,
sensible heels.
Yeah.
What? First of all, you're in this dress code document that's laying out skirt length to the inch.
Right.
You for the shoes, you just say a subjective thing like sensible heels, but nothing beyond.
Yeah, there's no specific details there. So she's like kind of again, she's trying to push the issue a little bit. He's clearly getting a little frustrated, and she can sense that. She's like, I'm drowning in discomfort, and she avoids eye contact as she smiles awkward. So this whole exchange is like going on where she's like,
like pushing
hello,
him.
boss.
She's like pushing him, and then she's
He's
like,
clearly
well,
getting
now I'm
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable because he's uncomfortable, and now I don't want to talk about it.
And then
it's like, okay.
He leans back in his chair. So everything's very awkward. And then we get to this where he leans back in his chair. He's like, "What will you do if I have a problem with it?" And then like she's like feeling awkward, and she's like, "What kind of problem?" And in my fantasies, his lips would curl into a wicked smile. He'd stalk towards me and use his deep voice to say, "The kind of problem that requires me to punish you for not following the dress code." So that's what she wishes would happen. He doesn't.
No, well, she said in her fantasies, this is the first we've heard of a fantasy between her and her boss.
Right.
Because
She has
before we kind of sensed the like attention of like she kind of finds him attractive. They find each other, but she's like, yeah, I've been having fantasies about him daily.
This is full blown. I would have taken my top off if he had like out my window. If like we had made eye contact. Like I'm literally dressing provocatively. Like she's all in on this. So this is like there's this awkward tension, and then the phone rings, and she's like, "Oh, duty calls," and he's like, "Thanks for the coffee." And she's like, "How long will we dance around the issue before one of us succumbs to our undeniable attraction?" It's like, all right. Atlas's perspective. Celeste knows I was watching her last night. It's like, is he saying that just because she's like being kind of weird today? It's like he thinks that
100%.
she saw him? Okay.
I guess. I mean, it's a weird leap. I know he's a private investigator, but like he obviously probably got seen because he's a giant man.
Because he was right outside her window. I like to think she's on the first floor and he's just like standing there, like right outside. And like, so he says that she's
after watching my coworker undress.
Yes, exactly. So apparently, he's like, she's doing a fine job of punishing me, and it's torture. And so like his muscles are flexing and bulging under her. His clothing, yearning to break free from their restrained state. Release me from these chains.
Also, could you get bigger clothes? I know you're a tall guy, but it's like if your clothes look like if this was my this was my chest, and if it was you could see that fine of a detail, go size up, bud.
Yeah, the tailoring for his outfits must just be a disaster because it's like
it's literally he's wearing an Under Armour suit.
He's wearing like a sheet of chainmail underneath.
Yeah,
but like it's,
underneath.
But it's like
his
tight.
actual.
Yeah. So he's like, I sense the struggle between my body's reaction to Celeste and the device's attempt to temper it. So he's like, my muscles are like getting all, hard. So am I, but I can't. The machine's keeping me in loop. So yeah, the phone rings. He's like, remember to follow rules and you'll be fine. And she goes, like, promise. And he's like, good girl. I mumble. It's like, bro, if you're trying to like keep things on the that's a cringe. That's a cringe because it's like, dude, if you're like, hey man, we gotta keep things professional here. It's like calling your secretary or assistant or whatever.
And then
girl.
she hears that and like bites her lip seductively, and then he goes, and thanks for the coffee.
And
then she answers the phone and her hips sway provocatively.
Yeah, she's like answering the phone. Hello.
Super weird.
That was chapter 5. So now,
and then he said, "I can't help but laugh, an actual laugh, not my usual grunt." So I guess
so
he
you
just
have not
ended by laughing. He just
ha
ha ha ha. And then,
So you haven't read chapter 6.
No.
Okay, so I'm glad you're getting introduced to this. So a few days later, Celeste strides into the office and she goes, "It's stuffy in here." And apparently, and he's like, "What's got you hopping mad?" he asks, which is like, who talks like that? Was this the 1920s? Like, what's got you hopping mad? It's like, what do you?
It's Justin from Broadway, hopping mad the musical.
And she's like, I've just been invited to a let's all get to know each other party by an obnoxious woman who lives in the same estate as me.
It's a townhouse? It's so, I guess so.
They keep using the term estate.
They're part of the Windy Estates, but it is just a suburb development.
Yeah, but it's like, is it like is there a duplex? Is it like a townhouse is all attached to each other? It's like, I don't know.
We don't know the layout of the suburb. They just said there's like 9 bikes here that are dangerous.
Yeah,
And it's townhouses, so
I
not even
guess.
separate houses, I guess.
So she got
Because they
invited to
said the
this.
window of the townhome, so I don't
Right,
know.
right. So she got invited to this neighborhood party, and she's like pissed off about it. He's
It's
like,
another party where they turn you into
right,
monsters
right. Don't
again.
take the punch. And she's like, he's like, don't you want to go to the party? And she's like, I wouldn't mind if it was afternoon tea with cake or something, but it's a golf day. And
Hey, so
um,
it's a party, but it's a golf
well, no,
party.
no, it's not a golf party. Or no, it's a
She said
golf
it's a
day.
party. Hold on. Oh no, it's yeah. Let's all get to know each other. Party by an obnoxious woman. The party is actually just a golf day, so it's not a party. It's just how about everybody comes and plays
Right, right,
golf.
right, 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 right. And he's like, golf, you've never played before? And also, very
Yeah,
weird
what
move.
a wild thing for him
Wait.
to.
Very weird move, though. Neighborhood party. The idea of a party is like, hey, like let's all get to know each other. It's like let's separate into groups of 4 and be out here for
Exclusively
4 hours. You
groups of
know,
4, and you're only limited to that group of 4 strangers. But also, it's also his response to that is crazy to me because
yeah,
he's like, "Golf? You've never played it before?
yeah,
Listen, buddy, you told us your entire life you couldn't play
right,
organized sports.
yeah.
Why is it so weird that she may have never played golf
He
before?"
probably hits the ball like 750 yards. I mean, he's a
Dude could be
monster.
a long drive champion.
Yeah, 100%. And she's like, nope. She looks overwhelmed by the idea of hitting balls around. Like she's like
How does
freaking out
one
about
look
this.
overwhelmed by the idea of hitting a golf ball? Like,
Also, couldn't she say no? Like, couldn't she be like, I don't really golf, but like, so maybe I'll go to the next party. Like, I don't understand why
or how
she's
about
freaking out so
I'll
much.
stick around the clubhouse and
Yeah,
hang out
right,
with you
right. We'll
guys.
get the beers after the round or whatever. And he's like, I can show you a few things. My handicap's +6, which is like, all right, yes,
Wait,
is that a
hold
good
on.
handicap? Yeah, but
I'm gonna
like,
look up the
so
handicap
that means
index.
like you're like shooting around 6 over whatever par is basically.
Yes, the
Um,
adjusted par though.
right. No, you're right. Like, so it's like, yeah, he probably shoots in like the 80s, I would guess.
Um,
He probably shoots like high 70s, low 80s.
the average handicap index for a man is 14.2.
Yeah, yeah. Which yeah, I'm probably like a handicap of 30 or something.
I think I was in the 20s. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty high up there. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, he's a good golfer, but
So
it's also
he's better than like 80% of the population who
right.
plays golf.
Right, right. So yeah, so he's good. Um, and she gets excited. She's like, "Oh, that's great news because I need a partner for the doubles golf tournament." It's like, where's all this golf stuff coming from? I don't understand.
It's coming out of left field here. I don't
I don't know. Why couldn't it
like
just be a party?
he's like, "Oh, by the way, in the backstory, I never was allowed to play sports. But I am a scratch golfer.
Right,
I'm
right.
I'm a 7.5 foot scratch golfer.
They've never mentioned him going out to play golf. If you're this good at golf, he's going like every weekend.
It should literally be like Knox and I were in the car on the way back from the driving
right,
range.
right, right.
Set it up some way, somehow.
Also, is the golf tournament the party? I don't understand.
Yes, it is.
So,
Yes,
so
it
the
is.
neighborhood.
Wait, hold on. I need a partner for the doubles golf tournament. So she goes, it's an obnoxious party. It's a golf day.
It's actually a doubles golf tournament.
It's a doubles golf tournament.
$150 entry fee, and if you win, you qualify for the LPGA.
She
So
alone knows more about golf
yeah,
that evolves over the next paragraph. It's like she's remembering things that she should have just said up front.
I also like how she's like, "Hey, I need a partner for this tournament." He's like, "Me? You just told her you're good at golf." And then also she
What?
says, "I see a woman blissfully unaware of the monster lurking beneath my normal-looking exterior." Okay, yes, you're a monster. You still are apparently a scratch golfer, basically. That doesn't seem to affect your
it's also-
abilities.
it's set up for like a classic, like the what was it, the Luck of the Leprechaun. I'm a leprechaun who's great at basketball.
Yeah.
It's like
But I don't
meet
understand what that has
Atlas.
to do with anything. It's like you
Nothing. It
apparently
has
are
nothing to
going
do with it.
out
They're
and golfing.
they're just talking about golfing, and he just decides to be like, she has no idea what I am inside.
It's like you just said you're very good at golf. You like playing golf. You apparently do it because you're this good. Like, what is the difference?
You are not a 6 handicap by accident.
Yeah.
You
What is the
have to be
difference?
very good. That's 3% of the human population is a 6 handicap registered.
She's all sweetness and light, but it'll ruin everything when she figures out what I am. Story of my life. It's like, how many times has this
Hey
happened?
guys, it's me. You're probably wondering how I got in this situation.
Right.
Doubles golf tournament.
Yeah,
The pretty lady.
right. And I like how
story of my life.
Again, he says, I quickly think of a reason to decline. It's like, again, like, why? Why do you have to decline? Why can't you play in the golf tournament? You like golf. You play golf. You're apparently allowed to play golf in this town.
You're very good at golf. If you have a registered handicap, it means it's published somewhere, which means you could look up somewhere online that says Atlas. What the fuck is his last name? Everlast?
Yeah,
Atlas Everlast.
Yeah.
6 handicap.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Semi-pro.
Why can't he play in the tournament?
I don't understand.
And she's like, she like can tell like he's like getting nervous about it. And she's like, I don't care about winning or anything like that. And he's like, Celeste, I could give you a few tips.
Well, listen, if I'm going to play, we're playing to win. I have a 6 handicap.
Right. And then here you go. Look, well, this doesn't make sense. So he's like, Celeste, I can give you some tips, but I can't be your teammate for the golf competition. She says, Atlas, I paid for your golf club membership last week. Don't even think about telling me you've been playing 18 holes in the dark with night vision goggles and light up golf balls. We both know that's ridiculous. He's like, okay, I won't deny it. So he's saying,
what?
So he golfs. He
has a golf club membership.
He's got a membership. He goes.
Why does she have access to his finances? Is he paying this with the PI?
Yeah, kind of weird that she also like golf club memberships. Even at like a crappy club, it's still relatively expensive.
It's super expensive. So this guy is just so she knows he can golf.
Yeah.
So I don't know why
he has a membership to a club.
Surprised by that.
But why can't he play in the tournament? That's what I don't understand.
Because it's regulated by the FBI. The introduction of golf in this chapter has derailed.
It's thrown everything off. Why can't you play in the tournament? You're a public member to a course, so that, you're out in society playing golf.
People
all the time.
Know you play golf. They're not going to forget a 7.5-foot tall ripped golfer wearing an exoskeleton.
Like, is he going to like explode into his Titan body on the golf course?
I don't know. And what does that mean? Does that mean his clothes rip off, or what?
I hope it's Hulk style. Yeah, where it's like,
is it Hulk style? So maybe that's the real reason. And he's like, I just don't want to be naked in front of people. But yeah, so then he's just, I guess he goes ahead and says, like, okay, I won't deny it.
He won't deny that he's been like golfing. Basically, he's saying like, because she's like, I paid for your golf membership. I know you golf. And he's like, okay, I won't deny it. And then she's like, what? You don't want to spend time with me, or you don't like being seen in public? Like, what's it? And he's like,
thing to say too, like, oh, you just don't want to hang out with me, huh? Like, you just hate me. It's like, first of all, you're my office assistant.
Yeah,
we've never hung out. In fact, the closest we've gotten to hanging out is when I stopped.
When I was looking
your window.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't like drawing attention to myself. It's
like, but except for when I'm on the golf course and pay for a public golf membership and everything.
She's like, you can't avoid public events your whole life. And again, he's like, I'm not like other men. And she goes, no shit, Sherlock. Have you looked in the mirror lately? Love the line there.
They curse. Yeah. Okay.
And she's cracking jokes. He's like, I expected her to freak out. It's like, about what? He just said like, I'm not like other guys.
Does he think that saying I'm not like other men was saying I'm a monster who got turned into a monster at a Halloween party?
And then, so you haven't read this. So here we go. This is the reveal. So like, he's like, I wasn't always like this. It's not who I am now, and there's nothing I can do to change it. Which, let me make a note here, because to this point, all he really is a big dude. Like, he's tall, he's jacked. That's it.
So I mean, like, he's really ripped. So I would just. The only thing I'm picturing, which is still not that much out of the ordinary, you would notice him, but it's a 7-foot tall bodybuilder.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's just a big, strong, tall guy.
Like, you got to think like a Jason Momoa or like The Rock or like some of these guys. It's like
a blend between the two of them and really toned. Yeah,
like you would stop in your tracks and be like, whoa, that guy's huge. But like I don't like her, like him saying like I wasn't always like this. It's like, what do you mean? Like, like in her perspective, it's just like what? Like, you're just a big guy, like a big, strong dude.
I mean, all I would interpret from that is like, before I hit puberty, I was so tiny. It'd be like, what do you mean you want?
She doesn't know that he's a monster.
Did you work out? Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. So he's like, she's like, when we met, you said you'd tell me what happened, which is like,
Wait,
okay.
when they met, they didn't
Like,
discuss his condition
not
at
at
all.
all. Not at all.
No, he actually like just decided to go upstairs and abandon her
yeah,
alone in
he
an
did the
office.
interview like on the phone, like on another floor. And he's like, "Are you sure you want to hear the story?" And she says, "Yes, please."
Oh my
And
god.
he's been dreading this moment, but here he goes. I was a teenager when it happened.
Oh my god.
I remember
Okay,
dressing up.
teenager.
I remember dressing up for a Halloween party and hanging with my friends from around the
Hold on 1
block.
minute.
We dressed in ghoulish costumes and masks, and the adults gave us plenty of candy. I like how plenty of candy. Like, they gave us plenty of candy, okay?
But they're also trick-or-treating as teenagers?
Yeah.
That's not as common.
The town square, the town square was lit up by jack-o'-lanterns, and everything felt magical. So it's a Halloween in a small town. Everything's great. He's like, I feel relieved to share my story with her. She doesn't judge. It's like, what is there to judge at this point?
All you said is you trick-or-treated and went to a town square, from what I'm gathering.
The party became a nightmare when people drank Dr. Karloff's poison punch, and it transformed us into monsters. Although it happened a long time ago, I still remember how we screamed in pain.
Oh my god! So this dude put out a punch bowl in the town square, and then just had a bunch of kids come up and drink
the punch bowl was supposed to be for like happiness. It was like the idea was like because the other one, because remember, like, as you said, it was the two things that like sounded similar. One was for like joy, and the other is for like monsters. Like that was the whole thing.
This is so confusing. I don't understand. And then apparently it was a painful process.
Yeah.
So
transforming your body
I guess
into
maybe
a
that's
monster.
also why the FBI got involved, because all of a sudden you have kids.
But did the
passing
FBI
out.
get involved, or did
Maybe.
this? I don't know. So like Celeste, I like how Celeste has like no reaction.
Just such a fucking crazy thing to just commonly say. Just it transformed us into monsters. How did that happen? Was it like over a span of a week, or did you just immediately turn into a monster?
I don't know. And Celeste again has no reaction beyond like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Isn't there someone who can help?" It's like, well, that's your reaction to him telling you that statement of like the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life. She's like, "Oh man, that sucks. Like that's too bad."
I feel like she really just glossed right over the monster
100%.
piece.
And then I like how he said, so she's like, "Who can help? Isn't there someone who can help?"
Wait, whoa, hold on. It says here, no one's been able to reverse the effects of Frankenpunch.
Yeah.
It has a name.
I guess it does.
Frankenpunch.
Yeah.
So this dude made Frankenpunch, which turns people into monsters. And he says it was by accident. It's not by accident.
And apparently others have tried to help and reverse it. But yeah, as you said, like no one's been able to do it. So my assumption is for every book in the series, we get this BS story, and like so they're like having to all stay consistent.
If all the stories are not the fucking same,
yeah, that would be insane.
I'm gonna lose.
I like how she's like
one person's like, Dr. Karloff came into my house and injected me with a needle.
So she's like, so what are you? He says, a Titan. And
say it.
Yeah.
You're super fast. You can smell really well, and you sparkle in sunlight.
Yeah,
say
like,
it.
I don't know how you're a Titan, but she's like a demigod.
If someone said that, I wouldn't know how to respond to that. I'd be like, the only Titans I've ever heard of were like Greek mythology.
Greek mythology, yeah. I don't know.
And so I don't even think you could classify them as monsters because they were gods.
Right. Titan is a very odd choice for this book because, like, yeah, it's like, why can't he just be like a big monster?
She says it right there, like a demigod.
Yeah, a demigod. And
How
he's
is
like,
that a monster? That actually just sounds like a superpower.
Yeah. She asks if he's immortal, and he says, "No way to know. I haven't tested it yet." It's like, yeah.
Oh, good. So we know he hasn't tried to kill himself.
Yeah. So it's like, no shit. He has no idea. She asks about his powers. He's like, "I move quickly and can easily lift immense weight."
So just strange. A professional athlete.
That's a very strange way to say it.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
My human side is typically control, but if I lose control, I turn into a monster. I mean, that seems self-explanatory.
Yeah, so he talks about this where like,
how is that a double-edged sword? What do you mean two? Does he have two personalities?
Yes. So he says, she's like, well, what triggers the transformation? Because I guess his current form changes. And she's like, well, how do you keep yourself from transforming? And he's like, I avoid triggering situations and wear a specially designed brace that prevents me from transforming. She's, has pain in her eyes. She's like feeling really bad for him. And she's like, a brace. So that's why you always wear suits, to hide the bulk. It's like, you could pretty much wear anything to cover a brace.
Also, the thing is skin tight. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to be like, is that guy wearing two knee
I think
braces,
he's wearing an
elbow
entire
braces,
body brace.
and a neck brace?
Also, like, you think he would wear baggy clothes to hide the brace.
That's what I'm just saying. The skin tight, you would pick that out in a second.
He's like, and she never answers. He never answers her questions, because she's asking like, does something trigger it? Like, what happens to you, etc. All he says is like, I wear this brace, and it stops it. And she's like, oh, you're protecting me from yourself.
And then he also says, my powers are unpredictable. So we don't even know what powers he has, but he lists it out. He's like, I can run fast
and I move
and
quickly.
lift things. And he's like, but my powers are unpredictable. Sometimes I can't lift or run at all.
I like, so they're having this conversation. He's like, I promise I'm not a threat to you. I'm not afraid to use my powers to protect people close to me. I'll always keep you safe. And she's like, I trust you. Now back to your
I'm
golf
not afraid
day.
to kill for you.
She says, now back to your golf day. Are there others like me living at Windy Peak?
180. What?
Oh, so he says that. Wait. So that's him saying to her, all right, now back to the golf day. Are there others like me living? So he's asking her, like, has she
I know
seen
that
monsters?
You somehow didn't pick up on the fact I was a monster. Is there anyone in your neighborhood who you may believe is a monster? What is happening?
And she says, if you mean monsters, I haven't seen any.
Yeah, apparently there's none in the book. Actually, this town. I think I was the only one that drank Frankenpunch. I drank the entire thing myself.
Also,
I woke up from the Frankenpunch and I was wearing a fedora and I had huge muscles.
In theory, when this event went down and teenagers and adults alike were being transformed into monsters, I assume there was somewhat of a tally being taken of that. Fred's a monster, Brad's a monster, Julia's a monster. We're kind of keeping track of this. I think it would
be pretty apparent because if your teenager suddenly grew to 7.5 feet and rippled with muscles, but also we saw some of the other book covers. If your child turned into a centaur,
I like the Cyclops. It's like, is that guy a monster? I can't tell. It's like, yeah, he's got one freaking eye in the middle of his forehead.
Oh man, what a weird thing. But the centaurs, I'm sorry, like you can't just have Todd show up to school with cloven hoofs and horns and be like, oh hey guys,
so like
catch the game last night. Crazy.
Him asking like, are there others like me living at the Windy Peak? Like, shouldn't he know at this point? Like everyone who's a I mean,
they should have an AA group. Like it's like the Monsters Anonymous. Especially if they're living among humans.
I haven't seen any monsters, but going to golf day would be one way to find out. Making new friends could be another perk. And he's like, yeah, that's right, sure. Sensing my discomfort, Celeste steps closer and places a gentle hand on my arm. Her touch eases the rage inside. It's like, why is he so angry?
Was he angry?
Yeah. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. I understand why you wouldn't want to be the center of attention, you giant freak. She doesn't say that part. Making new friends is important to you. You said so yourself, he says to her. So he's kind of like leading into the idea of like, all right, if you really want me to go, I guess I'll go.
That's weird. Hold on. Yeah, so he says, okay, so basically she's like, I understand why you feel this way. And he's like, well, you said making friends is important.
Yeah.
So it seems like he's leaning into it. And then she's like, we'll drop the subject. You don't have to go. And then he
just told me a giant secret.
You want to go to this golf day? Do you want to prove something?
Yeah, I don't understand his line of questioning here.
No, is she questioning? Why?
No, that's him. That's his perspective. Yeah. Because then she smirks at the change of topic and she says, partly yes, but also because I want to prove to my snooty neighbor I can do it. I don't understand.
She hates her neighbors.
But I don't understand.
She started off with this whole thing like, my neighbors invited me to do a doubles golf tournament. And she's just like, my obnoxious, shitty neighbors want me to show up to this dumb thing. It's just like, what is this even?
What are we accomplishing here? Like, so what if you're not good at golf?
It all comes back to golf.
Why does that matter? She's proving to her snooty neighbor that she can golf? It's like, what does that have to do with
or that I can do it? Do what? Show up to a community event?
Also, golf is a very highly specialized skill that you have to learn. It's not just like I wouldn't expect her to be good at golf right away because she's never done it. I don't understand.
That's just
So yeah, she's like,
okay.
we'll have a great time playing golf and hanging out. He's like, this isn't about beating her neighbor. She needs me. It's like,
What does that even mean? I don't. He does that weird protection thing because he did it in that one thing before where it's like she's standing out in the rain without an umbrella. She doesn't know how to protect herself. I have to take care of her.
She says so he says he'll do it. He's like, where's a golf course? And she's like, Windy Peak. It's near the woodland behind my house. There can't be that many golf courses in this town that he's not allowed to leave.
No, there's got to be one, and it's probably that
go.
one. And then it says, you look uncomfortable. Let me guess. He's like, oh, I've been there before.
No, he says, dangerous creatures live in those woods. And then, so now we're getting into a different realm here. So wait. Okay, here's the exchange.
What is this?
Here's the exchange. So she's like, it's Windy Peak. It's near the woodland behind my house. She's like, what's wrong? He says, dangerous creatures live in those woods. She's like, oh, like, are these creatures animals? Or are they like human who transform just like you? He says, these creatures are different, something new. People say they come from a place called Fable Forest. What are we
thought
doing?
Screaming Woods was the only place with the monsters. What is this?
Also,
what
isn't this book just supposed to be about sex? Like, I don't understand. Why are we building this crazy universe here?
Also, they were just in those woods.
Yeah.
But how are you going to say something like, the Dr. Karlov, he turned everyone into monsters. But now there's actually other monsters who live in a forest.
Yeah, I don't
but
get
those
it.
are bad ones. We got to stay away from those.
She's like, hey, I mean, it's going to be the middle of the day, and we're going to be with a large group of people, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. And he's like, the area is gentrifying.
At all for anyone on that golf course.
I don't know. The area is gentrifying, but there are some problems no amount of money can fix.
Gentrification normally gets rid of scary, dangerous monsters in the woods.
So he's like, just watch out for danger when you're in the forest. Like, that's good advice. She's like, was that why you cautioned me about being safe the other night? You figured out where I live and knew there were danger close by? And he's like, sorry, but I was. She's like, you didn't know where I lived. It was a coincidence. And he talks about being embarrassed. And she was like, why were you at Windy Peak? It's like, all right, you were embarrassed, but like, why were you there? And he's like, I was yeah, exactly. He's like, I was with my pal Knox. She's like, okay. And it's like this, I'm not in control. I hate not being in control. Hate it. It's like, what is going on? What is this whole exchange? I don't understand.
It flips back and forth so fast. And like, they're just like trying to find insane parallels and meaning in these words.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like this is how the last fucking 4 pages have been. It's just like, I'm so overwhelmed with emotion.
Right.
How's golf? Golf is okay, and I'm so nervous about telling her who I am.
But I
you
love
want to play golf.
I love this part. It's great. So he's like, they're going back and forth, as you said, kind of boring conversation. A strand of hair falls on her forehead, and he's like, God, I wish I could tuck it behind her ear, which is kind of freaking weird.
Oh my God, he does say that.
Yeah, when a strand of hair falls into her eyes, I clench my fist to stop myself from tucking it behind her ear. And then this is the cringe cowbell here. Watching her hips sway and those big breasts bounce as she swings on the putting green will be torture. It's like he's saying all these like really nice things. It's like, I just want to tuck her hair behind her ear, and he's like, God, those that ass and those big boobs on the golf course are gonna be tough. It's like so romantic. And Celeste, and then we get Celeste's perspective at the very end of the chapter.
That's three. It's like 5 sentences.
Yeah,
why even bother switching the point of view?
I don't even understand. There's no point in this paragraph. She's just like, wow, I got Atlas to open up. She's like replaying the conversation in her mind, and she's like, it's only now I realize I should have asked Atlas what triggers the transformation. You did ask that.
Anything.
No,
it's anything. She asked that,
and she asked that. That's literally something she asked.
And he told us, and he said, normally it's like physical, but can be emotional, mental, or anything.
Yeah, I don't understand. She says, well, I should have asked him that. I literally went back. She says, does something trigger the transformation? She said that to him.
She did. She said it. He also mentioned it before. Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
That was outstanding. That was some of the worst. It's just.
We're introducing details that we don't need. You know,
Well, we don't need, but also,
the
I'm
Fable
sorry,
Forest, the
the
motorcycle
Fable
gang.
Forest full of permanent monsters, which what does that even mean? Were they at the Halloween party, or is this just
Yeah, we don't
actual
know who these
fantasy world?
monsters are. We don't know who these monsters are. What makes these monsters different from these monsters?
Again, and you know, great is if we found out someone else that was a monster. Right now, we know that monsters exist everywhere in this town,
Because
rampantly.
in theory, it's like, so Dr. Karloff had the capability to turn people into monsters. So, like, did other doctors do it too? Like, how widespread was this technology that, like, doctors turning people into monsters? Like, I don't
That's
know.
just it. Like, if you're building a world where they have an ingredient that turns people into monsters, I don't even know how to begin to dissect what that means for the U.S. population. But like, how is this a small? Is it like a small town hiccup that they all just agreed to keep quiet, like the village?
And they're not allowed to leave. So it's
It's
like,
like the
how could.
village. This is the village. They have no idea what society's doing around them, except they're like, oh yeah, people can live here. There's just some of us are kind of
The
monsters, but
best
it's not a big deal.
the best part about this book so far is, so we've gone through 6 chapters, and a ton of details, all this crazy world building, and
Best part is the golf.
you know that within the next couple chapters, there's just going to be a graphically like sexual scene
Charged.
coming
Yeah,
up, where it's
it
going to
will
be like
be
4
insane.
pages of just like stuff we're not going to be able to read on the podcast. And it's like, what was the point of the Fable Forest when now this guy's just like, I don't even want to say something gross, but like, there's like something crazy that's going to happen sexually
You know
in this
what's
show.
also crazy is we never at any point had to give Atlas an accomplished golf backstory.
Yeah.
It could have been like, "Oh, you play golf? I'll play golf with you," or
Yeah.
like,
I've
"Yeah,
done
I
it
played
before
once or
a handful of
twice."
times.
Not,
Yeah.
don't give us his
Yeah.
handicap.
Why does he have
How
to be
many people do you
amazing at
think
golf?
reading this book know what a golf handicap
Right.
is?
Right.
I had to Google to see where
Yeah.
it even fell out in terms of if it's good or bad.
Like, what's the point of having him be like amazing at golf? What does that have to? I mean,
I
again,
swear to God, if they don't golf at all, I'm gonna lose my mind.
not only do they need to golf, but if he's in the tournament, they need to freaking win, because apparently he's amazing at it.
If he doesn't hit 700-foot drives
Yeah.
every single time he steps up, that's just insane.
What a book!
Insane.
What a book!
Yeah,
This is
it's crazy.
this is incredible. So yeah, we again, Tempting the Titan is the book. So next time on the program, we'll cover 7, 8, 9. And
7, 8,
then
9.
we'll do 10, 11, and then there's 2 epilogues, epilogue 1 and epilogue 2. So we've got 2 more
2
episodes.
epilogues?
Yeah, they're
2
probably
separate
really
epilogues.
short. Yeah, it says epilogue 1 and epilogue 2. I don't want to look at it because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, so there'll be 2 more episodes on this book, and then we'll start another one. And yeah, please keep up with the show. Feel free to comment. Everybody does a good job with that.
Get out there, play some golf.
Yeah,
so we
go
can
out,
all.
get there and play some golf. And
If monsters can do it, why can't you? You know?
yeah, I don't know why. And last week, of course, the show cut off before we got to do our signature goodbye. But if you notice, I actually went back in.
Forgot about that.
You scroll to the end. I actually did re-record. I recorded myself doing it at the end, last episode, without
But
you.
not me.
Yeah, well, you weren't there. I had to do it on my own.
What do you mean? You couldn't have just asked me to send you a voice recording that said "We outie"?
That would have been a lot of work.
Okay.
But this time we'll do it. We'll do it live here. So we will see you all next time. Sayonara, my sweet, sweet suckers.
We outie? That was the weirdest thing.
What do you mean? Why is it weird?
It sounded like you're about to say, "And I will sayonara and see you again."
I'm trying to
Are you trying to change your brand?
trying to bid the people
rebrand a little
goodbye.
bit?
Sayonara.
Oh, okay.
my
If you want
sweet-
to change what we say at the end, we can talk about that.
No, I like it. Sayonara, my sweet, sweet suckers.
I think it'd be funnier if you were just like, wow,
Fuck
wow,
off.
we were.
Fuck off, everybody. See ya.